people explore themselves, find themselves. You think I'd be trying to go to Bali if I didn't see it on Instagram?
Hello.
You think I'd be trying to throw a drink on somebody if I didn't see it on? No, seriously. Like, I never wanted to throw no drink on nobody until I seen it on Love and Hip Hop. Gotta stop that.
Like, one of the
why
reasons
do you want to do that?
I've started this clothing brand, but it's like because I'm seeing people do it on social media. Like, I see the influences that's being presented to me on social media, right? So it's just, you see that, guys start working in your mind, hey, I can do that for you too. But it's like, if you don't have that tool, you don't get that. It's just like anything, everything has something bad. Like a car, it gets you where you want to go, but then you got to think about the maintenance of a car.
And
wrecks and stuff like that. It's always a negative to a positive. We just focus on the negative so much that we miss and we focus on the people who use a positive tool for negative reasons so much.
Social media is somebody's seed.
Mic drop.
I don't know how to speak in tongues, but if I could.
Oh my God. All right, y'all, what's going on? It's your boy Easy Bake Oven. What's up, y'all? So today it's a little different, all right? Now, I used to hear ads run through my stuff for other people. All right, this is probably the first real time the ad is for me. All right, so P.S.A, Prodigy Sport Advantage Stations, has expanded far beyond just the podcast. It is now a writing service, all right? And at that, a ghostwriting service. So we do it anonymously and take care of your needs, all right? Homework assistant, product and profile descriptions, grant writing, resumes, cover letters, templates, books, ghostwriter book too. Anything you can think of, articles, all that good stuff, PSA, the Ghostwriter Solution, can do it. So go over to PSAthepodcast.com and you can see all the services there with all their descriptions, okay, because I know I missed some. And also you can reach out to me at theprodigyperspective@gmail.com and we can take care of all of that for you too. Peace. And guess what? I'm back in the studio after all y'all complaining.
Oh, they like the studio?
Yeah, they really liked the first episode. There was a lot of hate mail, especially on YouTube after they told me I lacked critical thinking. Me of all people.
Oh.
It was somebody, I think it was like, I think his name was Batiste367, and then I clicked on his page and I couldn't see nothing. But you know how that go. But you getting trolled on YouTube, that means you're doing something.
Yeah. That's your first troll.
Yes, we're gonna get into that as we get in today. I'm off Celsius today. Make me feel like I'm drunk without all the sinning, so I feel pretty good. It's the first track of a new album, new podcast album.
Track one.
You know, you just put it in your car and let it ride. All right, so y'all, I'm happy to be in here again. A lot of new updates in life, and it's July, it's the second half of the year, so we got to get some things going. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so today's episode centers around planting a seed, because this is industry plant, as you done seen with all the promotion that I did and talked about for a while. And I'm the industry plant, apparently. Somebody, Ronnie Calm Down, said that under one of my pictures. Kyle. And I took it and ran with it. So
that's funny, because I don't know his real name. I know him as Ronnie Calm Down.
Yeah, no, that's
I don't
Kyle.
know who Ronnie Calm Down is, and I don't know why.
Where has Kyle been? I haven't seen him. Kyle, if you see this, we looking for you. He don't owe us no money or nothing, but you know.
He's looking for you.
Yeah. But this episode is the first part, so each episode, kind of similar to the last 2 years, each episode in the album is going to tell a story. So this is the first part of the plan. It's going to start from the beginning, the seed form, and go all the way down to the final form of the plant. We have 11 tracks set up, and for the next 11 weeks, prepare to see some bomb interviews and great group conversations. So let me get into the meme. So this week's meme reads, today's lemon seed will create the same harvest tomorrow as Gucci Mane's lemonade did in 2009. Inspiration for this episode comes from episode 18 of season 2, featuring the beautiful lady to the left of me. We're going to get into introductions for those that don't know later. But I was actually reminiscing on that episode the other day while I was at the gym, while I was working out, when at the gym. It was episode
18 of season 2 featuring T and my homeboy Crash Bandicoot. And we talked about suicide and black thoughts. And I really like what I liked about the episode is besides the horrible audio and the lack of some kind of structure, because I didn't really have segments back then. But what I liked about it was the group dynamic and just the group conversation. So it still was a good message if you go listen to it. A quote by Seneca says, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Ecclesiastes 1:2, it states that there's a time for everything, a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to uproot. And then the last one by Socrates, the secret to change is to focus all your energy not on the fighting the old, but on building the new. All right, so let's go into, just jump right into the happy hour segment. Ting. So, because I have two people already on camera, I'm not going to wait to do the introductions. I'm going to get that out the way now. So we're going to start with the lady first. Tell the people your name, where you're from, and then tell them what you do.
Okay, I am T. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I am in the Army.
Okay, soldier. All right, what's going on?
I'm Ron. I'm from Houston as well, and I work in telecom.
Okay, what else do you do?
I try to do like a social media presence. I have a clothing brand called Self Love Apparel. The Instagram for it is Self Love Apparel on Instagram and Self Love AP on TikTok. It's like a side thing. Try to do social media with clothes, and I'm a father and a husband. So that's about everything wrapped up in one.
In motivational speaking and training.
I just have to mention I do not represent DOD. Because they're going to come for me out. I do not represent DOD Army, okay?
She just had to put that out there.
Had to put that out there. All right, so it's July. And before we get too heavy into today's topic, and it's the happy hour, so we just talk. So I have a question. 4th of July, am I a sellout for eating a burnt hot dog?
I like my hot dogs burnt.
Well, it's not the burnt hot dog. It's just the fact of it's the 4th of July. You know, they saying that, you know, black people shouldn't be which they're technically right. But is it bad if I'm going to a barbecue? Because a lot of these holidays, well, not all of them, pretty much all of them are pretty pagan, right? But the issue is eating at somebody's house a celebrating? Is that celebration?
If you put a title on it. If you make it celebratory. But if
So
you don't
like,
say, oh, I'm finna eat this hot dog in celebration of, then maybe it's not a celebration.
yeah, like if I'm at your house and you got like a pickle in the refrigerator and I eat it, that don't mean I'm celebrating nothing.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's not like I'm finna decorate the house with American flags.
Yeah.
You know, I know you had that American flag jumpsuit waiting.
Who's a sellout for eating a hot dog?
Why do you have an American flag jumpsuit?
Yeah, you talking about me?
Yeah.
Why would I have an
You
American?
posted it on your story and was like, ready for the next function. You don't remember doing that?
No, I don't wear that.
Put it in reverse here.
Yeah. I don't have one of those.
Get it.
I don't have one of those.
Man, you put in your close friends because you didn't want people to steal the swag.
Are you making this up? You're making this up.
Yeah, I don't even have a CF.
I don't think there's anything wrong with doing what you want to do. If that hot dogs make you happy at the end of the day, eat the fucking apple.
Who called you? I want to know who says a sellout. Is it because it's burnt? That's why you're a sellout?
People.
I don't think the hot dog being burnt had anything to do with.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just the fact of it's the holiday, you at the cookout, and it's like we look.
He's saying that he feel as a black man, he shouldn't be celebrating it.
Well, that's what people say. You know what I'm
I
saying?
get it now. I get it. Well, I'm celebrating that. I got the day off, so I ain't even worried about the 4th of July. It's day off for me.
And that's the thing, too, because they talk about how Thanksgiving and stuff is. So then my question is, are we celebrating a holiday or are we just celebrating our day off? Because my mama cooked. It don't matter
Okay,
what
so on
day.
Thanksgiving, we celebrating good food.
Right.
So we ain't worried about Thanksgiving. We worried about sweet potato pie, turkey, macaroni and cheese.
Usually when when we do Thanksgiving, like we actually like go around the table and say what we give thanks for.
Yeah.
Like, thankful for.
Yeah, we don't do that.
So
Y'all know?
We just eat and watch football.
I mean, we eat.
We pray before. I mean, everybody got to bless the food. And once you bless the food, you know, that prayer, because normal prayers before you bless the food about 30 seconds. Thanksgiving's like the Super Bowl of blessing the food. So, of course, that prayer going to be about a good 5, maybe 10 minutes. And then after that, because that's where you say what you're thankful for, eat food and watch football. And maybe take a nap.
Celebrate Thanksgiving if we go around and say what we're thankful for.
I want the people to let me know in the comments. I really want to hear about that. I want to hear what they saying and what they take on 4th of July and just in general, because I remember in St. Louis back in the day, and we got to get off this. People will go down to the riverfront and put on their camo shorts and their American flag tanks from American Eagle. So it's like...
They didn't know any better then, though.
Well, that's true, too. So,
and sometimes, like, I think at this point, some people do know better now, but they're so acclimated to celebrating in a way that they know how, that they continue to do that until someone is just like, okay, let's celebrate differently this year. But somebody got to step up and say that. So, let's celebrate differently this year, Izzy.
Let's do it. Okay, so off that. So now let's jump into the what's going on. So I'm gonna start with Ron this time. What does the phrase or the quote "new beginnings are often described as painful endings" mean to you? It's no right.
When I guess when I hear that, I hear grieve. I hear grief. I think when you, especially the painful endings part. Meaning that before you step into a new beginning, so you're aware and conscious that it's about to start, but before you step into it and actually put into place the plan that you have set out, you got to take a minute to really just let go. So you got to reflect on that old season and see if you need to let go of anything, see if you need to, what's the word I'm looking for?
You said like reflect.
Like detox from it, basically.
Okay,
it's basically like detox from that old season. So, a lot, like one thing I've learned, especially in my quote unquote new beginnings, like in an old season, if your old season wasn't as fruitful as you would like it to, that doesn't mean that there wasn't stuff about the old season that you didn't like.
Yeah.
So painful endings, even if it's an old season where it's like, well, you know, I'm stepping into something new. What was back in the old wasn't good for me anyway. There was still some parts of it that probably you liked about it, whether it's an old relationship, an old job, old something. So yeah, when I read that, I hear grieve. You got to take a minute to just
process,
detox, and let it out first.
I like detox. What about you?
So the painful endings, I think that comes from when we get into a routine of something, we become complacent. And in order to get out of complacency, you have to have a new beginning.
Right.
And with those new beginnings, you have to let go some of those old things that you did like about where you were complacent at. So with that new beginning, it's just like, I have to let this go in order to get the fruit of whatever else that I'm trying to get from this tree. Right. So I think that when it comes to new beginnings, that past is scary because it's comfortable, you know what's there. And when it comes to these new beginnings, it's just like everything here is new.
Yeah.
And me personally, I used to be scared of new beginnings because it's just like anxiety. Oh my gosh, what's to expect?
Yeah.
Like, are they gonna like me? Hell, am I gonna like them? Like, it's just a lot of unknowns and uncertainty that comes with new beginnings. And I think that's why some people are afraid to try new things because of their complacence.
Okay. I think that's the whole reason. Like, that's why you have to grieve, because I've learned there's like 4 stages of grief. And one of those stages is like acceptance. So if you don't accept that that old season is over with, you'll walk into this new season still with all that anxiety and all that pressure and all that baggage that comes from the old season all on your back, and you won't be able to appreciate or really take on the new thing that's in front of you.
Yeah.
So it's very important. Like, you got to deal with the past or deal with those painful endings first before you really take action in the new season.
For sure.
I like to be selective with like the things that I bring into my new projects or my new beginnings, because although I do know that there's some aspects of my past that I do need to let go, there are some great aspects of my past that I would like to take with me. So most of the time I take what I learned then with me and just keep adding on to it. And the things that I didn't like, I let them drop off. Yeah. Because it's just like, this aspect is good. Why in the hell am I letting that go? Coming with me, bucko. Like, we're going to do this together. Like, we're going to do this together. So
I like this. This is the first time we had a serious conversation. Every time we're around, we always joking and playing spades. Yeah. We need to get back on that.
All right. So we're going to get more into it as we get along, of course. But so I got a few words, and I want y'all to tell me the first thing to come to mind. There's no right or wrong answer. All right. It don't matter what order y'all speak out. It's okay. So when you hear the word seed, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Seed.
Time.
You say time? I think of something small. I think of faith.
Okay. When you hear
mustard seed. Hold on now.
Hello.
Hold on. New Testament. Hold on. It's Sunday. You better stop.
When you hear the word investment, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
What's the word I'm looking for?
Patience.
No. I mean, well, that could be the word. Like taking a chance. That's what I think of when I hear investment. Okay. That's not, chance isn't the word, but
risk.
Okay.
Risk versus reward.
Bam.
Okay, when you hear the word harvest, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I'm not gonna lie, I think of like farms.
Oh, McDonald's, cool.
Yeah.
Overflow.
Okay. All right, so the definition of seed, everything is from Webster. Shout out to them. A flowering plant's unit of reproduction capable of developing into another plant. Investment, this is an act of devoting time, effort, or energy to a particular undertaking with the expectation of a worthwhile result. I like the worthwhile in front of result. And then harvest, the product or result of an exertion or labor gain. Reward, a reward. And I like reward. Since this is industry plan, I have to ask, and I've gotten, now y'all, this is the first episode of the album, but I've recorded pretty much all of the episodes. So I get a different answer when I ask this every time.
Okay.
When you hear the word, and I hear the word, if you could be a plant, what would you be and why?
Would like this?
A plant, like
the type of plant, the stage of the plant.
Not stage, but any type of plant you could think of.
Oh, a bamboo tree or a bamboo plant, whatever. Wow. So I didn't know this, but I've learned that bamboo plants or bamboo trees, they grow roots underground first, and that can take about a year or two. And then when it's finally time to like grow above ground, since they've grown all the roots underground first, when they grow above ground, it can take like maybe 3 to 6 months, and they'll be like one of the tallest trees in I don't know what you call it, forest or space, I don't know. Yeah. And I probably could be saying that, I could be saying that off or wrong. I am paraphrasing, but I do know like they take time to sow in the ground first before they spring out. And that's why the bamboo tree is like one of the strongest trees in the world, I guess, or that bark or whatever. Yeah. So I would say that one.
Okay. What about you?
I would say a peace lily.
Haven't heard that either one yet. So wow.
A peace lily, because if you've ever had a peace lily, one, they're dramatic as hell. If you don't feed it, well, not feed it. If you don't give it water, enough sunlight, like they will droop really bad. But as soon as you give it that nourishment that it needs, it like springs back up like easily. They go through phases, like they don't have the actual sprouted flower every year. Okay. So I think that's very important to know that although things die, they're going to come back. Most times when my peace lily die, it come back with more lilies. So it's just like, it's very fruitful. Like
she preaches.
Wow. Okay, cool. So that's good, because they're basically saying even if you die, you know, it's a not die literally, but like some things sometimes have to die, but when it come back with more.
Yeah, exactly. Metaphorically speaking, which goes back to your first statement, new beginnings with painful endings or something like that. I know I said it wrong, but
yeah, it's fine. It's here. We got it. All right. We got it.
Saw that.
All right, so let's move to the next section, which is what does this have to do with mental health? So first, I got a few statistics from some things. All right, so the first one is building resilience and self-efficiency. I can't pronounce the name, my bad. So starting a new beginning often involves overcoming obstacles and dealing with uncertainties. This can then strengthen resilience among young millennials. According to the American Psychological Association, resilience plays crucial roles in mental health, and it helps to better manage stress and also helps with setting goals and working towards them. And this is from Psychology Today as well. The second one is promoting personal growth and self-understanding. Initiating a new beginning often requires introspection and self-understanding. According to a study published in the Journal of Adult Development, personal growth is strongly associated with positive psychological functioning. Engaging in a process of self-exploration can help millennials understand their strengths and weaknesses and develop a strong sense of identity and enhance their mental health. We're going to come back to the word identity in a minute. And then encouraging healthy lifestyle changes. New beginnings often involve making lifestyle changes such as adopting a healthier diet, exercising regularly, or improving sleep habits. And then according to Anxiety and Depression Association of America, certain lifestyle changes can result in can be as regular as physical activity and getting enough sleep. And, we ain't really got to go to the rest of that. All right. So
I know you flowing, but I just got to say this. God is crazy.
Yeah.
Because this basically, like, this whole episode is essentially talking about patience. And I'm kind of in the season where I'm having to learn about patience, and I'm reading a book about patience. Like, I just downloaded a book yesterday about patience, and I'm reading that. And I didn't even know, I wasn't even supposed to be on the podcast today.
No, shout out to EJ. They didn't get her feed to her properly in time. No, just playing. No, I love EJ. No, she had something going on. I really wanted her to talk about what her experience, but I'm going to get her on this season again. Maybe bring you back too, I don't know. But I'm going to get her to come back to see. She had some stuff come on last minute, and I'm upset. But it's okay, because we're going to get her back.
But it's just crazy how this is just all aligning with everything that I'm trying to learn and everything that God has been talking to me about. I just had to point that out because this is just...
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, let's get back to, I want to really kind of unpack the whole identity thing when it talks about young millennials and getting their identity. I think social media plays a huge part in that in a negative way. And I didn't plan on speaking on that, but I really want to talk about that because I feel like social media, I read a book. I didn't read a book, but there was this book that came out many years ago.
Notes.
I read the Twitter version, and it was a book talking about in the later years. I want to say it came out maybe late 90s, early 80s, something like that. It said in the future, the future of people will be the same person. If you look on social media,
What do you mean?
Let's get into it. You look on social media, everybody is the same person. Same occupation, same looks. All these surgeries have people look exactly the same. Everybody go look and see what Lil Durk doing, and they go do their hair like him, dress like him. It's like the same thing. Because it's one thing to copy fashion and trends. That's been going on for the beginning of time. But when you are basically now, it seems like this, like somebody's in a factory and just like, the next one, it was like the same.
But is that new? Like, is that
really
new?
not,
It's really not. Because if you think like, if we thinking just like on a simplistic personal, outer appearance perspective, I mean, everybody had an afro in the 70s.
Yeah.
Everybody had like the buzz cut in the 90s. And we're just talking about appearance. So it's like, is it that everybody looks the same, or is it that people are more aware of it because we have social media? So it's not a situation where back then you didn't know that you lived in Texas, somebody lived in Ohio, you didn't know that this dude in Ohio wore afro just like you. But now we have social media where, I can find out this dude in Ohio has the same haircut as me because I can just look his name up on Instagram or TikTok. So I don't think like, because my wife, she kind of does that a lot too. She be on TikTok too much. I'm like, oh my God, the world is ending. And it's like, back then, back in the 60s, black people was getting chased by dogs and fire hoses. Like, I don't think it's a situation where it is as bad. It's just that we see it now.
Yeah.
I think I have a love-hate relationship when it comes to social media
Mm-hmm.
because it does expose the youth
Mm-hmm.
and ourselves to a lot of more things that us as kids wasn't exposed to because we didn't have social media.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about how you grew up, most of the things that you did in some households were based off of what your parents wanted you to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we come these young adults and we're trying to find ourselves. For me, one of the easiest ways that I learn things are from social media, from other people posting about, hey, this is how I grew up. This is how my mom did handle conflict within her kids. Like, I learned a lot from social media, but you have to have some level of discernment when it comes to what you're intaking and what you're applying to your life.
I equate it to like back when my mother and father are in their 60s, so like their time will be like the 70s and 80s. So what their social media was for them back then was like the daily news, the everyday news. So I'm pretty sure back then you had to have, or the paper, you would have to have some discernment, like, hey, you know, channel 11, channel 12, channel 13 always showing bad stuff, so we probably shouldn't watch it tonight, or let's not pick up this paper because they only showing us the bad, or they only showing us what will bring up sales, and typically that's drama, stuff that's causing intrigue, giving you like a dopamine hit, whatever. So it's like, do I think that our age, especially like late millennials, because millennials is two different decades. It's the 80s and the 90s.
This the young ones, because the
young ones, the 90s, so like 92, 91 to like 95, the late millennials.
Okay, I was trying to see where you was going with the numbers.
The young millennials is the youngest millennials 27. So
that would be 95 then, right? That would be the last year,
95
or 96.
Yeah, Jet and them barely making it.
So it's like us, and then the generation after us. This is our everyday news. Like, we don't have to go to Channel 11 to get information. We just go to Shade Room. But like back then, I'm pretty sure it's like, don't let the paper or don't let everyday news identify you, or don't let MTV Raps, or don't let whatever was popping back then identify who you are. Same thing here, right? I know that it's not okay for social media to build your identity. What I don't like is just people making it seem like it is like social media is just hell, right? Because it's not. You miss out on the good parts that she was bringing out. A lot of people are starting you starting this podcast, my wife with her makeup business. Social media was the anchor for that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a lot of good that comes out of it. And I think we get focused on the bad so much about the negative that social media brings, which I'm not saying it doesn't bring a lot of negative, but don't forget that social media does help out a lot of people too. A lot of people have lost their jobs or quit 9 to 5s and actually doing things that they love because of this tool of social media. So it's just, I don't know.
It's a love-hate. It's
a love-hate, and I just don't like when people put so much, just focus on the negative so much, right? And then it's also, I know I'm rambling, but you know, the whole build identity part, you got to think about the foundation of where this person comes from. If the home life was bad growing up, if mother and father wasn't around, if school system wasn't presented well, but then the only tool that you have is social media, and social media is showing you something positive about life when all you do is grow up with negative, how can you expect somebody not to build their identity off of that? That's just...
and I feel like social media gives you such a broad range of different stuff that you can play with to find yourself.
Because you don't have to listen to what everybody else listens to, especially Instagram.
Yeah. Or even if you do start listening to it, you can be like, okay, I hear it, it's not my vibe. I'm gonna try something else. I heard that, not my vibe neither. Like, people think that everyone is supposed to be the same person for the rest of their lives, including our parents. It's just like, we get exposed to all of these different things, and some of those things that we get exposed to, we keep with us, and we take it to the next place, to the next place, to the next place. So I think that it is very important to understand that social media exists for a reason. Use it to your advantage. If you want to copy this person one day, that person the next day, I don't give a damn if you do it 30 times. Whichever one make you the happiest, stick with it. Like that's just what it is. It helps people explore themselves, find themselves. You think I'd be trying to go to Bali if I didn't see it on Instagram?
Hello.
You think I'd be trying to throw a drink on somebody if I didn't see it on? No, seriously. Like I never wanted to throw no drink on nobody until I seen it on Love and Hip Hop. Gotta stop that.
Like one of the
why
reasons
do you want to do that?
I've started this clothing brand, but it's like because I'm seeing people do it on social media. Like I see the influences that's being presented to me on social media, right? So it's just, you see that, guys start working in your mind, hey, I can do that for you too. But it's like, if you don't have that tool, you don't get that. It's just like everything has something bad. Like a car, it gets you where you want to go, but then you got to think about the maintenance of a car.
And
wrecks and stuff like that. It's always a negative to a positive. We just focus on the negative so much that we miss and we focus on the people who use a positive tool for negative reasons so much.
Social media is somebody's seed.
Mic drop.
I don't know how to speak in tongues, but if I could.
Oh my God.
Oh
So
God.
I'm just saying, social media is somebody's.
She made me get out of the chair with that one. Ooh, that was good.
It just lets people know, because I know for myself, I grew up in the hood, so I thought that there was nothing beyond that. I thought that I would always have to struggle because I saw struggle, and I just felt like I couldn't make money because this is the life is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to have everything on your back. And then I seen on social media, and although it's not 100% realistic, but I know that it exists. I know that I can have another life outside of the one that I grew up because I see other people doing it.
Yeah.
I see the opportunities that they have. I see the opportunities they're making for other people. Like social media, you cool with me sometimes, homeboy. Like sometimes.
Yeah. If anything, Twitter is the devil.
Man, you
I
wake
be
up.
dancing with the devil.
You open Twitter at work. You just chilling, and you know the porn.
Twitter.
Like,
Twitter. If anything, Twitter. Yeah, y'all got me. I don't have a Twitter.
You be following them porn.
No, you follow people that follow porn because I don't follow the porn.
Twitter is that's the only one I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Perverts, y'all be just telling on y'all.
Twitter is.
Yeah, that's what got Zion in trouble.
But no, for real, like I had, if you don't delete your Twitter permanently, at least take a break from it. That's my call to action.
Really?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Really?
I think all of that stuff, y'all know I'll pop off of Instagram and pop back on real quick. Because I need
I popped off. I'm on break.
I wish I could pop off, but this show I'll be, but I'm a...
You can't, this your job. Like my wife, she can't really pop off because this is her job. So that's why with her, we gotta like, okay, at 11, let's put the phone down. Because she'll be scrolling all night if you let her just have the phone.
She need her wrist.
Yes. Like she can't, she needs it for her job. You need it for this. So the people who use it.
Her wrist.
She need her wrist.
I thought you said she need rest.
No,
that was a bar.
All right, so now early in the episode we talked about the meme, and I compared the lemon seed to lemonade from Gucci Mane because that's the only lemonade.
Yes, please make this work.
Okay, that's the only lemonade we acknowledge. So as I did some research,
is this going on Beyonce's internet and you talking like this?
Well, no, I'm just saying. I remember it was a meme that said that though many years ago. It said,
I'm just asking.
Lemonade is the one. Yeah, I want to see how you make this work because I'm reading this.
Okay, so Lemonade by Gucci Mane is a song filled with metaphors and symbolism. Okay, so here's a brief breakdown in the meaning of the song. Lemons and lemonade repeatedly use metaphors to represent money and wealth. Okay, the color yellow is associated with lemons. This is used to symbolize gold and money. All right. When Gucci Mane talks about this, all right, he talks about selling lemonade. He's referring to turning sour situations, lemons, into profitable outcomes, which is lemonade. All right. Then, for instance, in the line, lemonade diamond bracelet, put it in your face. Gucci Mane is bragging about his wealth and success symbolized by the diamond bracelet, implying he's turned the lemons of his life into very profitable lemonade. This then means, as we continue to go, that the making of the song is largely about making the best of what you have and turning negative situations into positive outcomes. And this is a common theme in many rap songs. And it is about the flaunting the wealth and success that one has achieved, which is another frequent motif. Now, I'm going to give him a challenge to that. I'm going to explain it in the next part. So let's move to the next section, which is I challenge that, right? And in this section, this is where I pretty much challenge the notion of whatever we're talking about. So first, let's unpack the song. So obviously we did that part, and that's the good side of it. Now, if we challenging that, I believe that what I don't want is, And there's a time and season for everything. But what I don't want is when we plant a seed in that case, because in some cases with them rap lifestyles, they plant them seeds, but then they instantly get a harvest based off of whatever it is it took to do it. So like sometimes it's not all of them, but scamming. Or sometimes, because that's instant money. You know you're going to get that right away. I'm okay with doing a project at this point. I don't want like a microwave thing. And I feel like sometimes if we talk about social media and just lifestyles that are glamorized, I think that sometimes we make it to where we see the success of something happening overnight. And it seemed like it happened overnight, but you've been planning it for a long time. And even what you said earlier about you seeing it with other people, if you see them videos, I've seen them people, they tell their testimonies of them businesses and talk about how they work for 5, 10, 15 years, 10 months. You know, it is not going to happen right away. And I think sometimes that we can kind of get caught up with these seeds and trying to plant stuff that we like, well, why is it not here yet? Why ain't come yet? Are you ready for it if it did come? And that's a question I was going to ask later, but I'm going to ask now. If your opportunity of a lifetime came today, I'm going to start with you. Would you be ready for whatever that is?
No, I'm not ready. That's why I haven't pursued it 100%. I have to give it time. I have to think about the semantics, the logistics of whatever it is I decide to do. Mm-hmm. That's something as simple as breakfast in the morning. Like stuff takes time, and I'm okay with being patient. Like I used to be a instant gratification person, but now that I know that things come better when they take time versus then, okay, boom, let's say I get famous tomorrow. I ain't gonna know what to do with that. Yeah. And I'm a flop, just like anybody else that just randomly got fame off of nothing. No work, I didn't earn it. I just posted a video and boom, I'm famous. I don't know how to work to get to that. Yeah. Because I was just bullshitting. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep bullshitting and y'all gonna keep getting bullshit. And then y'all gonna be like, all right, that's enough, girl. Like it takes time.
We'll put the cane around the neck, drag off.
It takes time. And that's when you get into that vicious cycle of I'm trying to get the audience attention because you don't know what got it in the first place. Because you was bullshitting.
And we see a lot of that today. I mean, and that's another thing. I didn't expect this to be the social media talk, but it's coming up a lot. But
how did we get here again?
Yeah, I wasn't planning on that one. But I think that there's a time, I have to ask the question, is there ever a time when we have a new beginning where something shouldn't be tolerated or celebrated? So the first thing I could say, like, let's talk about your body, for instance. First time working out, you don't work out. If you go jogging after them first 5 minutes, you know that meme of Nene when she running and she fall off to the side. That's how you gonna be looking because you ain't never done it. Your body's not used to this. What you about to say?
I was laughing what you said.
I think there's a few other scenarios too, so I got some more information. So negatively affecting others. So in a study by Deloitte on millennials and business ethics, 49% of respondents said that they rejected assignments at work that go against their personal values or ethics. This suggests that there is an understanding that new beginnings like job promotions or new assignments come at the expense of ethical behavior shouldn't be celebrated. I agree with that wholeheartedly. If something is against who you are as a person, no job should, go. I hate to say it, but I instantly think about like those celebrities, and you see those skits, which we all know is satire because it's making fun of something that actually goes on. But those skits are like the women. It was one on Family Guy, and they was like, "Oh, you want the show, right?" It was like, "Well, you gotta do something for me." And then she started crying, and she was like taking down her shirt, and then he was like, and they started laughing, and obviously that's dark humor.
Oh,
very dark.
But it's satire of in some cases what
like how I set it off when Jada had to get yeah.
What she had to do?
That old dude, she needed money for like her brother or something. And she was like, I need this money. He was like, well, you know what you got to do. And then she was crying. Next scene, she was crying in the bed. That was nasty.
But that's the unfortunate reality, I think, that
some people.
And that to get to that, so I feel as though if you do like, I love using this analogy, when what was it? Pretty Video TLC back in the day, when Chili was about to get the breast implants, and she saw somebody getting a surgery. She ran out and she fell to the knees and looked up in the sky. So she didn't do it. She was about to do it because the storyline of the video was she was insecure and she had, Now, that leads into the next good point, which I like. The second one is escaping responsibility. It says student loan debt, which apparently Joe Biden that got canceled. Y'all should have known he wasn't canceling no student loans. He kept saying he was.
Yeah, I should have went to the army. I ain't got no student loan debt.
Watch this. According to the Federal Reserve, the outstanding student loan debt in the United States is a staggering $1.7 trillion.
How they gonna ask me for money and they ain't $1 trillion in debt? I ain't giving y'all
That's
nothing.
why they want their money.
Yeah, no, I ain't giving y'all nothing.
It says if a millennial was to pursue a new beginning by neglecting their financial obligations.
Neglect? I'm sorry.
Such as defaulting on their student loans, this would neither be responsible nor something that should be celebrated. I can't agree with that one because I'm not paying mine back. My daddy said he gonna keep going to school. That man take a class every semester. He almost 60.
So he probably like 200. That's 20. That's 0.20% of the
That's
1.
the 20% of the 1.7 trillion.
1.7 trillion.
Now we talking about stuff that shouldn't be celebrated, new beginnings. So I had a friend, one of my pen pals online, and she was telling me about how she lives in Chicago, and she was talking about how one of her roommates just moved to Florida and didn't tell her. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. But she said one of her roommates moved out and moved to Florida and didn't tell her.
So how she gonna pay for the other half?
That's escaping responsibility.
That is, and that's
That's trifling.
Yeah. That's bad.
That is your communication skills piss poor.
That's just, yeah, that's terrible. That's an evil human being.
That's messed up. That is messed up.
The second one I'm gonna skip through is just talking about promoting unhealthy behaviors, and we obviously know that could mean
Substance abuse and mental health. Can we do this one?
We can. So, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administrations, the SAMHSA, reports that millennials are prone to higher rates of substance use disorders compared to older generations. New beginnings that promote such behaviors like moving to environments with high substance abuse rates such should not be tolerated or celebrated.
Like moving to Houston?
And what is substance out of? That's kind of skewed because what is substance abuse? When you consider alcohol a substance?
Absolutely.
So back then, alcoholism was hot back in the day.
You said it was hot back in the day.
Yeah.
Listen, watch this. Old people, they'll let you drink. They don't care about you being a drunk. But you better not smoke no weed.
Oh, please. I know old people that be smoking weed stronger than the weed.
They do, but like my grandma, she don't care about people being drunk. She say, you smoke.
My mama.
What she be
My mama is like that.
Yeah, they'll let you be.
It's like if I take a drink, well, Lord forbid, if
I
weed.
think we just got to give it time.
What's that smell?
We're getting to the point to where weed is becoming like alcohols, where people are starting to accept it.
It need to.
I give it.
It's
some
safer
years,
than
and
alcohol.
it's gonna be the same. Like they're gonna look at weed the same way that they look at alcohol.
Who's in front of that study?
We gonna be the old ones that was talking about
Yeah.
weed.
So then you think they're gonna celebrate perk 30s?
Yeah.
You said
they gonna
who's in
see the
front of
health
that
benefits.
There's
Like
study.
who was the people who is
talk-
the age range of the people who did this study?
They did it over
You said
young
cite your
millennials.
source.
I read it.
I'm not saying so. Yeah, they did the study over young millennials, but the people who were in charge of the study,
they probably
who
went
actually
down
did the
somewhere in
studying, yeah,
Somewhere
like
in
they
Oregon.
probably was like 50, 60,
Oh, I
some odd years old. So it's like, because it's like a substance abuse. Yeah, by America's definition of substance, because weed is considered like a what's the grade? It's like one of the highest graded drugs or whatever. So it's like, of course they're gonna say it's substance abuse, but weed is safer than alcohol.
See, the thing is that this is just saying substances. It's not saying what substance. It's not saying.
Oh,
They could be talking about Adderall, so these people be going crazy.
yeah. You know what? You know what? You got me on that one.
They go crazy with
Yeah,
Adderall.
on the Percocets and all that.
Yeah, like, let's think about it.
Yeah. It's
How many 70,
Perk
60-year-olds, popping pills?
unless it's for diabetes, not many.
That's not funny.
Okay, the next one is unrealistic expectations. A survey conducted by TD Ameritrade found that on an average, millennials expected to be fully financial independent by the age of 25.
That was me.
Yet the reality for majority was quite different. Rushing to a new beginning, like moving out or starting a business based on unrealistic expectations, may lead to financial instability or emotional distress and should not be celebrated without proper planning.
Yeah. That was me.
Yeah, and you seen that picture of Jerry, Tom and Jerry's a meme, and he was crying, and it said me thinking how I was gonna be at 25, me at 25, and it was him crying with and they had photoshopped some soap in there trying to fill it up to get the last little bit of soap out in the shower.
But I think we have to be mindful of when we thought that we would have everything together by the age of 25, because if we think about it, our parents had most of their stuff together, so to say, by the age of 25, because of the times that we were living in then.
Yeah.
Now we're in a time where people are afraid to have kids because our parents did it at a young age.
Yeah.
People are afraid to leave their job, or no, people are not afraid to leave their job and start a new one because our parents stayed at their jobs for 50 years and they were unhappy. So I think it just depends on, because at 25, I thought I was going to have everything all together.
And you know what also is? This might sound supremely cliche. I am sorry, but I'm about to say it. TV, movies.
Absolutely. That's what our influence is.
TV,
Hold that
movies.
thought. We're going to get to something in a minute,
Social
y'all.
media.
No, we're going to get something in a minute. Okay, so now what happens if it's a bad seed? So I'm thinking of like when planting a negative seed of someone else to somebody else. So you may say, oh, you know, Ron, he's a little crazy. You don't know Ron, but going off with the bad seed, they be like, oh, so I'm going in thinking you crazy. That's a bad seed.
When it comes to meeting new people or people that I already know meeting someone else that I've already had encounters with, I don't like to tell them what my encounter was because my encounter with that person is not going to be the same as yours. So I try to not tell them like, hey, experience them for yourself. Our experience wasn't great or our experience was great. We meshed well. Y'all might not. So just experience that for yourself. Because like people ask me about the Army all the time. And it's just like, babe, it's going to be a different experience for you. Everything that I went through, everything that got me here, is not going to be the same stuff. You're not going to have that same path. But yeah.
It's on you to figure that out.
It is.
That's why I don't like saying nothing either. Like I just, I mean, he cool, she cool. She cool, he cool.
Because I definitely don't want.
Unless it's like if they like. If it's like bad, then it's like, yeah, nah.
I gotta warn you.
Nah, bro,
our personalities
just don't mesh. Then it's like, I mean, you might like them. I don't know. I don't really know what your stilo is, but
this because everybody is just so different, and I don't think that people realize that because they want everyone to like the same thing and be into the same stuff. And when you're not, it's just like, are you really my friend? Yes, I am. I'm just not that friend for you, sweetheart.
Exactly.
Like, the thing.
I'm the friend that you call when you want to watch the BET Awards. I'm not the friend that's going to go to
the BET Awards.
Exactly.
They actually go.
Yeah.
I stay at home.
Okay, so now let's get into something else. So, another quick question. What happens when others around you don't like the new you? You made a comment earlier. You talked about your parents, and like sometimes your parents don't like that. I have a friend, shout out to my homegirl, Christian. She stopped drinking. And when she stopped drinking, so many people started acting weird with her. So many people stopped talking to her like that. They used to be like, don't come if you're not drinking.
Okay, so that's very toxic. Start there. Yeah. Secondly, I think that we meet people in phases of our lives. And we have to accept that this particular phase, we meshed very well. But going forward, we just don't have to let it be what it is. There's no hard feelings or anything like that. It's just that where I'm going, you can't see the same vision that I do.
Yeah.
Everybody's timetable is not the same. So y'all timetable, let's talk about the drinking thing. Y'all timetable might be, I'm going to be stopped drinking when I get 40. Well, I don't want to wait that long. Yeah. I realize how much it ain't no telling what she's been, or he or she, I don't know if it's he or she. Ain't no telling what she's been through when it comes to that area. So she probably thought it was necessary for me to put a pause on it now.
She'll find people that don't drink and that will accept her for who she is because it's so many people in this world. She's just going to have to take that friendship that she had previously, appreciate it for what it was, and move on.
The perfect new beginnings, partial endings, painful endings.
Still have certain conversations with those friends, but clearly those aren't the friends that you can go out with because they're going to pressure you to drink, and if you don't want to do that, like this going to cause.
Yeah, it's gonna cause friction, and you don't need.
So just go get you some new friends that don't drink, or find you some hobbies that don't.
Be okay with that's a process. So that means that there's probably going to be a point in time where you're going to be by yourself. Don't quit on the process just because it's uncomfortable being by yourself.
And you cannot heal in the places that hurt you.
Exactly. You can't be at Grooves talking about I'm gonna quit drinking when they got 25-cent bourbon and Coke.
25-cent.
I'm just saying that's a little temptation. You can't
buy some for the table.
Yeah, no, that gin and tonic for $1. I said I wasn't gonna drink, but you can't beat this. It's $1.
No, for sure. And it ain't just drinking; it's food too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna eat, y'all. So if you want some trying to cut back on weight and you ain't got no self-control,
don't call her.
I ain't cutting back on weight, but I have like a stomach thing, so I gotta watch what I eat.
We'll talk about gut health off camera. All right, so now what happens? I don't know why you're laughing up here, but when the new beginning isn't or wasn't as expected. So in some cases, there's been, I feel like, I'm gonna briefly talk about this because I'm gonna get to the next point, but I think about what if, for instance, you went to sleep one night, you woke up, had the cold still in your eye, and you got a phone call. Hey, is this Ron? Yeah, it's me. Hey, this is Zara. We seen what you've been doing. We would love to feature your things in our store.
Oh, man.
We need you to fly out next week so we can have a meeting. What if it happens that fast? And that's why I asked her earlier, if an opportunity of a lifetime came, would you be prepared? And so preparation is not always external. A lot of times it's internal as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's more internal than external. And sometimes my question is like, one, if it happened, we already asked, well, what way would you be ready? But also, if it's not how you pictured it, because you could say, oh, I'm ready for marriage. I think I am. But what if it's not how you pictured it?
I got to change the picture.
So let's talk about the movie.
Is the picture something that is the change very different from the picture that I already have in my head, or?
Yeah.
If you're talking about marriage, yeah, it can be.
Well, yeah, obviously, because
really,
your
in
marriage
general
is what you're gonna make your marriage to be between two people. It's not a, what did you call it? Cookie cut? It's not
cookie cutter.
Yeah, it's not cookie cut.
So I think about the movie that's out right now, and everybody's talking about it. It's called The Perfect Find, with Gabrielle Union and Keith Powers. So you don't have to watch the whole movie to get the gist of it. But long story short, she was married to some man, D.B. Woodside.
She was not married. They were together for 10 years.
Oh, okay. They wasn't married. They was together for 10 years. I missed that part of the movie.
Talking about Blue? She was married to Blue? I don't know his real name. I just know him as Blue.
For 10 years. They wasn't married.
They was together for 10 years.
It?
Yeah.
Yeah, they was by law, though. The common law marriage.
She,
even though she ain't get half.
She ain't getting nothing. She was getting half for Keith Powers. But so then she was she left. They ended up breaking up. She ended up meeting a young man, Keith Powers, at a party in New York. That sounds like New York. If you've been to New York, that's some New York stuff for real. So people
really, it'd be a mix between 40 and 20.
Just she's 50, but in the movie she was 40. But she looked good, so it's Gabrielle Union, But
she was 50 in the movie.
No, she's 50 in real life.
Oh,
but she don't look it because it's Gabrielle Union.
I think. Hold on, I'm about to go off topic.
So my question is, I'm 1,000% sure that businesswoman didn't see herself. We're gonna spoil the movie for y'all. Getting married at the end. Did they get married?
They got married. I know they had a baby.
She got pregnant by that young man. They was together. It was just supposed to be her sneaky link that turned into a real link and a Cuban link. And basically, long story short, I'm 1,000% sure she did not see herself being with no younger man, especially where she was.
Maybe she didn't see herself being with a younger man, but you know how you write your goals down and they're pretty vague? You don't say, oh, well, this is the type of woman I want. I want her to be this age. I want her to be this color. I want her to be this. You don't do that. You just say, oh, I want someone that's compassionate. I want someone who's loving, who likes kids, who's a family. You do it like that. And so when this person that comes that have all of these qualities, you don't take into consideration that they're 10 years younger than you.
Talk about a curveball. God say you want that.
The thing is that she never asked. We can't sit here and say she didn't want a young man. We can't sit here and say, oh, she never thought that she would be married and pregnant by her boss's son. We don't know what she asked for. We just know that she asked for a kid in marriage, and she got that.
But that's what I'm saying.
She got everything that she asked, but
She just
we don't know
didn't
if
get
she
it.
specified on what age.
She should have. Yeah, you got to be specific next
You gotta
time.
be real specific, because y'all listen. Before I left and did my army stuff, I said the next time I move, I wanted to be in a house. I wanted to have a maid service and a cleaner. Baby, I moved into a hotel and a maid service and a cleaner.
You got what you wanted.
But I got what I wanted, but it wasn't how I wanted it, you know? But I rolled with the punches, because I'm like, okay, this is my new beginning. Like, I have no say-so in where I stay right now. I have no say-so in what I eat. I don't have no say-so in none of that. But I knew I had the faith that whatever is to come from this is going to be bigger once I get done with it. I'm at the big part now. Like, I didn't see it that way, but it happened.
And that's the thing, because what if it comes not wrapped how you expect it? But that's one main thing, is just keeping your mind open to whatever seeds you planted, because you think you planted a lemon seed and you got a batch of watermelon.
Yeah,
I like watermelon. Like,
she better like watermelon. She got a young spry watermelon.
She was in the let's go, young man. It's time to go.
It's time to go, young man.
All right, so let's move to the next section, which is the weekly sabbatical. And we just going to kind of reflect. So my next question is, when I talk about reflecting and I look on everything, as we talk about investments, we talked about the earlier down payments. I looked at this podcast, look at me in the studio now, me getting trolled on YouTube. I brought that up so many times this season. I'm so thankful. And honestly, I'm happy. Here's the thing, and y'all laughing, I'm serious, because watch this.
You got them up.
When it started happening, if this would have happened to me 3 years ago, I would have been pissed. If seeing all them negative stuff I be seeing, when I get trolled on YouTube and even Instagram from time to time, and even a little bit of TikTok, mainly YouTube. YouTube is a moneymaker. I be like, I don't care. Like, so that's my thing. Like, I legit don't care. And that's why one of my prayers was that God made me impenetrable. And I already was pretty good with not caring about things people were saying. But it's one thing, because people talk about you as a person. Some people care, I don't. But when people talk about you, something you really passionate about, that's really is a different type of trigger, you know? So when people were saying stuff about me on YouTube, when I just look at it, I don't care. I don't feel no way. That is like the biggest blessing ever. So I want people to understand things come when they're supposed to. And like I said, we go back to Gabby. She wouldn't have been ready for that young man probably even a year before she met him.
Because he was 18 at the time. I'm sorry. He was graduating high school. He wasn't there yet.
He didn't have no masters.
He was really sneaking linking with that young man. But that's really how it be. It really is, in life. But she could, yep.
Talk about patience. She had to wait about 25. So that begs the question.
That's what it is, basically. My man, he getting his master's right now.
Your man is in 8th grade right now. Getting that.
You got real young, did you? 30.
He getting his algebra 1. He pre-algebra. He's smart. So he's trying to get ahead of the game.
I think I need to go to the people that's sitting at the Social Security office right now.
Because you can go real up and real low.
I'm in the middle. I can go up, or I can get the daddy, or I can get the son.
Take the son. Do Gabby take the son?
But basically, go ahead.
I'm sorry. If we go back to what that 25 have a thing ready to go at 25.
Yeah.
Stuff like that movie, The Perfect Life Perfect Fine can twist people's mind to think, because at 25 he had his masters. There's working at
that's doing that though.
But that's not everybody.
But it's people that's doing that. It's just letting people know.
Oh,
it's just letting people know that, hey, this is possible. Like, you can do this. I know y'all think that it's not possible, but at some point they were sitting here looking at somebody else's social media being like, oh, damn, they're 21 and they have all this going on.
So what I want to say is, I don't think that it's not possible, but I think people need to pay attention to the right things. He got his master's before 25. So pay attention to the fact that he got his master's versus paying attention to the fact that he got it at 25, because a master's, depending on the certain person, is not going to always come at a certain age. Remember, his mother was very rich, successful woman, so she probably was in a position to be able to pay for his education straight through, so he didn't have to take no breaks or have to worry about where he lived or where he ate or how he ate, how he got transportation. But that's not the reality for a lot of people.
It's not.
Right? It's not. So, like, my wife and I'm saying my wife because I didn't finish school, but like her last semester, in order to get it at the time she wanted, she had to take like 10 classes in that last semester.
I remember that.
And for y'all, I think you had to do like five.
No. I did one summer school 2014, and after that I only had 4 classes every semester till I graduated.
Yeah, so it's like, it's not, so I'm saying like sometimes stuff like that can skew people if you do not have the right, I'm gonna use a big word, hermeneutic, which is the glasses, the vision. If you're not paying attention to the right stuff, or if you're not looking at or having your mind open to the right stuff, don't just pay attention to the fact that he's 25 with masters. Also look at the whole situation. His mother is very successful, so he got a lot of opportunities.
Look at what he was working at.
He's working with his mama the whole time. That's not everybody's reality. You said yourself you grew up in the hood, so you probably had to take different routes to make sure you got where you wanted to go.
I worked with my mom with it.
Yeah, it wasn't like
work
that.
With mine either.
Right? Like my mom, she got sick when I was 14, so that created a lot of dent in finances because we had to pay for her health care. So if I can't become and I still kind of have this problem. I'm working my way through it where it's like you got to pay attention to the whole thing. You can't just line up with everything. So that's why I say back when we was talking about 25 having a life together. I know for me, I used to grow up heavy with TV in my face, TV and movies. So
Same. You
see that a lot. You think, well, it's possible. And then when real life hit and it don't happen, now you feeling terrible about yourself when if you would have had your eyes open, you would have saw that's not everybody's reality. So don't, like you said, she got the man that she wanted. Was it the man that was the same age as you and y'all was good or whatever? No, you got the man that you wanted. He just came in a 25-year-old package, right? So it's about paying attention to paying attention to what's important and looking at the right things, taking in some stuff and taking out some stuff as well. I just had to.
No, you good. Okay, so let me talk about this because I'm gonna give y'all some tips that I researched in order to prepare for whatever new is coming. Because that's just the season we in now. I just feel it a shift. Everybody feels it. You see it through different sermons. You see it with these artists when they create these projects, and it's all about the new revival, renaissance, all that stuff. If you look at the synonyms, that's a new beginning. That's a new thing. So,
Gunna got out of jail, new beginning.
Who did?
Gunna got out of jail.
Gunna free.
Yeah, Gunna free, new beginning.
Free is backwards and he's backwards. All right, so now watch this. So a lot of people need to get into alignment. A lot of y'all are out of alignment. Y'all out of order. I seen some on Instagram. I ain't gonna say who, but I was watching a story and they was playing a game, and in the game, some content creator people I know, and the man had to lick mayonnaise off his girlfriend's feet as a dare. I said we are getting farther and farther away from society when I see stuff like that.
Because I seen that on a movie when I was younger, Menace to Society, when he had put that hot sauce or something.
But mayonnaise?
I'm just saying we not. Is it because of the condiment of choice?
It's all nasty.
Feet.
It is nasty, but I'm saying I wouldn't say we're getting away from it because they've been doing that nasty stuff.
But mayonnaise?
That is whipped cream back then.
They've been doing that nasty. I don't know. Maybe that was the only condiment they had in the house. Still gross. And why?
That's nasty. Why are you licking off of people's feet? You don't know where her feet been.
It wasn't no
She probably was just walking outside in concrete. Nasty. Probably.
It wasn't no kink stuff. It was like they was playing some games and then that was the dare.
Yeah, nah, fuck that game.
Okay. So for y'all, as we wrapping up. So here's some ways to get ready for my young millennials as your new beginning is coming. So the first one is invest in financial education. Millennials' financial situation is often discussed as a challenge. According to a survey by the National Financial Educator Council, young adults age 18 to 24 estimate that they lose $1,634 on average each year due to their lack of knowledge on personal finances.
Damn.
So this can be, and it's a lot of stuff on Instagram, YouTube, everywhere about financial independence, investing, budgeting. I really don't know a lot about investing, but I want to start getting into it, and then retirement planning for those of us who do have corporate jobs. The second one is embracing lifelong learning. I'm going to just say it like that. it talks about this doesn't include job-specific skills, but also soft skills, because it's y'all soft girl era. This is communication, creativity, leadership, and there are various platforms like LinkedIn and Coursera. It's a few other things, but a forum 50% of all employees will need reskilling by 2025 as an adoption of technology increases. I have to add that.
Yeah.
ChatGPT finna take a lot of people's jobs. Not mine, but it's gonna take a lot of y'all's. The third one, I'm just gonna glaze over, is just removing negative influences. It is critical for millennials to prepare for new beginnings to evaluate their personal and professional surroundings by with negative influences. And according to the from the Mayo Clinic, negative influences can take a toll on your mental health, and this can come from toxic relationships, people trying to force you to drink when you're not trying to drink, unhealthy environments, or material possessions, which I kind of mentioned briefly when I was talking about the whole Gucci Mane thing earlier. Like, they glamorize their lifestyle, and it's so in your face that people will do anything to get it.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the next one, which is adopting sustainable living practices. And this is, according to Nielsen report, we are more willing to pay for extra sustainable offerings, with almost 3 or 4 of the respondents indicating their preference. By adopting sustainable living practices, millennials can not only contribute positively to the environment, but also prepare for their future. This can include the right career choices, conserving energy, recycling, all that good stuff. And this is the last one. This is a big one I think I've definitely been doing, which is making room for personal growth. I've gotten rid of so many clothes, shoes. Like, I've went through since the end of last year, even up to the other day, I've gotten rid of so many clothes and shoes and just things in my house I don't need.
It is so freeing. It is so freeing. I had a storage. I picked up all my stuff and I put my stuff in the storage. When I came back, I gained weight. The food was no good because I was only supposed to be gone for 4 months. So I'm just like, I put everything that was in my apartment in the storage. When I moved back a year and a half later, that food was no good. It was like non-perishables, but it was no good. The clothes were too small. The shoes, they wasn't my style anymore. So I literally purged everything. I got rid of the clothes, I got rid of the shoes, I got rid of everything, and I'm just like, okay, this is a new start for me. I'm finna get rid of everything and all things new. Like, everything that's going forward from now is going to be me letting go of all of that extra baggage that I had, because I got a bad habit of having old stuff and just adding new stuff to it. But now I'm just like, let it go. Like, you'll get it. And it's so divine because I had these high school sweatpants that I obviously can't fit anymore, and I was just like, I'll never be able to get this because they don't sell my high school stuff in stores. Literally 4 days later, I found some shorts that had my high school on it, and I was just like, and I just threw those other ones away that I didn't want to throw away because they were too small. Divine timing, honey.
It's all makes sense.
Right. Making room for personal growth helps to prevent burnout, improve overall well-being, and ultimately prepare for new beginnings by fostering resilience and adaptability. And that's the main thing, being adaptive. Knowing how to adapt, because that's, I think, hard for, and that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, because I felt like our generation is too young to be saying like, oh, I'm good with this. And I mean, so many people who younger than me who be like, I'm fine with it just the way this is. And it's like, 23, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, you got too much life ahead of you.
Right.
And at such a mild age, you still like a reflection of your parents. You really don't even know what you like for real. Everything you like right now is the stuff that your parents like.
Yeah, you ain't really been out on your own yet. You ain't even hit your late 20s yet. Yeah. And that's a whole nother animal.
That 25 going.
Yeah, that 27 is different than 25.
That's the end of the late 20s.
And then wait till you get to the part of your life where you're just like, okay, I'm in the middle. I can't dress. Not I can't, but I don't want to dress too young, like to where I got like my midriff out or, something like that. But it's a very awkward stage for me right now when it comes to dressing, because it's just like, I don't want to look too aged and I don't want to look too young. So what is the fine middle?
Adult puberty.
Yeah, it is. I love it here though, because I can this time I can make my life to what I want it to be, and not have to stick by the whatever my school is saying, my parents. Like, this is my money.
And like how you saying making room for personal growth. I know we talking about clothes, but also just making time to, I know this is gonna sound cliche too, but like reading certain stuff that's gonna benefit wherever you lack internally, like internal battles that you lack, whether it's I'm not good in patience, or I'm not good in self-control, I'm not good in kindness, I'm not good in joy. You gotta take time. So separate yourself from your everyday, make the sacrifices to separate yourself from your everyday grind, to take time and really learn about these certain things and understand how you can apply it to your life. So, and they say millennials, the generation after us too,
Gen Z, the TikTokers.
You want to talk about patience?
I think it's very important to understand that the life that you want is the life that you create.
Mm-hmm.
The seed that you plant today is going to be the seed that grows tomorrow. So whatever you planted today and whatever you use to nurture it, that's what you're gonna have tomorrow.
I just learned this yesterday. So I'm gonna get biblical. I'm sorry, but I think it's Ephesians 4. Verse 2. I'm paraphrasing, but basically it's saying that you have to be patient, which is making allowances for the people that you love.
Okay.
So that refers to like whatever journey that you're trying to grow in, whether it's career, whether it's a certain trait or a certain aspect. You have to be patient with that journey, which is making allowances for that journey. Since you love that journey, why do you love that journey? I love this journey because it's going to benefit me, or it's going to bring me a promise, or it's going to bring me something that I want for myself, right? Being patient within that journey is making allowances for the fact that this journey will not be perfect. Sometimes this journey is going, some days this journey is going to, everything's going to work out the way you want. So you trying to be a successful podcaster, some days you're going to get the right amount of views. Some days the right people going to find it. The right people going to contact you. But then it's going to be some days where you don't hear from nobody for a whole month or two. Yeah. Or some days where you, even something simple, I'm trying to upload an episode to Instagram or YouTube is just not working for me. What's going on?
Yeah.
So I know, and I'm saying that because I'm personally, that's a problem for me. My, what's the word I'm looking for? Like when something goes wrong, I quit. And that's been like an issue for a longer. So I'm trying to learn how to get out of that. And if I don't, or if we don't, be patient, which is making allowances for the fact that sometimes there's going to be issues, or there's something going to go wrong in this journey. If we don't take account for that, then we'll be just like me, where you're quitting every time something goes wrong.
So for me, when it comes to stuff like roadblocks with whatever process I'm trying to get through, I always ask myself, is this a stop or is this a work harder? And sometimes it's hard to differentiate the two, but it all boils down to how bad I want the feeling in the process. Not the end point, not, oh, I'm finna get this check in 2 weeks, but during the process, because obviously that money at the end is going to be my dopamine release. And we know how dopamine is. Once you get it, release it, you're done with it. So that was a big thing for me. Once I got my dopamine release, I was just like, okay, on to the next. But it was just like, I wasn't feeling the process in the middle. Because once I focused on the process in the middle, I wasn't too focused on the dopamine in the end. Because I know that dopamine gonna be there, but I have to work with the process in the middle first. So just don't let the dopamine over dopamine you to where you're just getting it and throwing it away.
Yeah, and that's, I want to say lack of education has kind of been my problem. I haven't learned, which I'm trying to learn now, but I haven't learned that it's not always going to be perfect. Like, it's not going to be a situation where you go in headstrong, working hard, and just because you worked hard, you're going to get the most positive result. A lot of times that's not the case. It's about the amount of time that you put in beforehand. So you got to keep that same energy, but throughout time, you'll be able to see the harvest or whatever seed that you plant. So that's kind of in the journey. And I just wanted to share that because that's kind of like the journey that I'm in now, where it's like, how do I overcome my frustrations when the journey does not work on my behalf, when the process does not work on my behalf, when it feels like I'm taking 2 steps forward and getting knocked 2 steps back? How do I say to myself, okay, is this a stop or is this a work harder? That's also a gauge that I'm trying to learn because I don't really know the stop, work hard gauge.
So my gauge for stop and work hard is if I'm at a point to where I feel like it's stopped and there's nothing on the other side that I can feed lead off of, I stop. But if there is another way that I can do this, because there's always another way, and that other way still going to get me to where I need to go, I go. But you got to know when, okay, this is you doing too much. This is you doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You'll feel it. When you're doing too much, I usually feel it in my chest. It's a little anxiety. But when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I get shit like deja vu. I get my R&B moments when I feel like life is a movie and everything feels good. I just literally listen to everything that's around me to know if I'm walking in the right path that I'm supposed to. Because I pray, I do all of that, but obviously I don't get words back. So I have to pay attention to the things around me so that I can know that what I am seeking is also seeking me. So.
Okay.
Sorry, Izzy.
Oh, no, we good. So we're just going to jump to the ending remarks for today. Just a quote, well, obviously Bible verse. So Isaiah 43:18-19, forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I'm doing a new thing, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. So just that last part alone, if you're making streams in the wasteland, water's usually not in the wasteland. So that's just being prepared for whatever is new. Allowing the main part, forget the former things, because if it's something brand spanking new, it's going to be something you ain't never seen before, and be open to something you ain't never seen before. I like surprises. So hopefully this is a good surprise season for a lot of people. And I believe it will be if you let it. All right, so let's go to the final thing, which is the question or challenge for the audience today. I switched things up, and this is what I was going to ask during the episode, and y'all can still answer if y'all want to. But this week's question or challenge, I want y'all to ask the audience, if your life was a movie, not if your life was a movie, if your life, what would you name the album of your life right now? What would the title of your life be right now if it was an album?
I would say God's Favorite. And the reason I say God's Favorite is because there were so many times where I thought that I wasn't going to get through it, or I thought that, the end of what you're going through right now is not going to look how you want it to look. But it always works out. And that's why I always say I'm God's favorite, because there's so many things that I got through that I was not supposed to get through. And it's just like, dang, like, God, you really fool with me, because I couldn't do this without you, homeboy. Like, no, seriously. And people be like, why would you say that? He told me to say that. Like, that's my boy. We locked in. Like, I'm God's favorite.
Ain't no switching up.
You can be God's favorite too. Like, everybody can be God's favorite, but locked in.
What about you?
I would say Good Kid, Mad City. So the reason I would say that is the whole concept of that album. That's the Kendrick Lamar album, by the way. Is Kendrick basically explaining how can you overcome your environment, or him having to overcome his environment. Now, did I grow up in the hood? No, but I have grown up lack of knowledge and a thought process of I'll just take what I can get and settling, mediocre. And so it's like, how can I overcome that environment? How can I be the one that overcomes the mediocre, the settling environment, and actually become the person that I can see? God has given me a vision, that the person that I dream of. So that's why I would say Good Kid, Mad City. That's
very interesting, because we don't usually hear about people who did grow up, well off financially, having issues growing up, because all we hear is, they came from the bottom and they're at the top. We don't hear about the middle class, because the middle class is hard.
Growing up.
Middle class is hard.
Yeah.
You don't get financial help. It's like you got to get it out the mud.
It's real, like, it's a plug and play. So like my people, they grew up poor, from the hood, that type. So to them,
they're living the life,
right? But then
I had to pay for school.
It's hard to understand, like, my foundation is not your foundation. So I didn't grow up that way, fortunately and unfortunately, because the reason I say unfortunately is because sometimes it's hard to relate with your people since you didn't grow up that way. That age gap and just that growing up gap. Like, if they grew up suburban when they were young, they probably could understand. But we didn't grow up suburban. You know, my pops grew up shotgun house, 6 to a house, sometimes going out food, going out lights. Mom died when she giving birth to him and his twin brother. So it's like, to him, you know, I got
a good life.
I got a good life. Imagine where I'm coming from. And for me, it's not only where I'm coming from, but then actually being more in tune with God and how God says, you're not designed to just have the best that you can get. Yep. You're designed to have
more.
the
exactly what
excellent,
you want.
exactly what you want,
and more,
excellent and more. Like, I just didn't design you. I designed you to have dominion, and dominion is rule over everything. So, you know, you get into a certain stage or you get into a point is good, but that's not where you're supposed to stop.
Right.
You know, like David, if you think about it, David, Solomon, Joshua, Moses' problem was they stopped. They were supposed to become somewhere else, but they stopped and got complacent. Yeah. Right. But Joshua got them to the promised land. And he was a king in the promised land. Solomon was considered one of the richest men that ever ruled the world. Jesus is Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, Paul is responsible for basically a third of the whole New Testament. So it's like, you're not just supposed to just get by. You're supposed to have the top of the top. Yeah. So it's that on top of growing up in a suburban environment where, you know, I didn't have to grow up not having to worry about what to eat.
But you have different struggles. Your struggle wasn't financially. Your struggle was mentally. Your struggle was.
And that's why I say good kid, mad city, because it's like most of my family kind of grew up that way. And to them, it's like, you good. But it's like, no, not really, because I understand that there's kind of more on the plate that we missing out.
Right.
Even y'all, even y'all, like, even them, even though I congratulate my pop and my mama from coming from where they come from. It's just sometimes it's hard because it's like, this is supposed to be like the checkpoint. This one's supposed to be the finish line.
And they stop too.
And they kind of see this as the finish line sometimes. And
it be like that sometimes, though, especially when you come from where they came from. You don't see it.
It's a lot of factors. It's a lot of factors that go, and you got to think they grew up in the time civil rights movement, black. I know it's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it. So it's
patience.
It's not like I'm supposed to make it. You know, I think a lot of people in our generation, that's one thing that we do that kind of hurts us is, we're not considering all factors of why people from older generations didn't do things that we want to do, right? Like civil rights, you got to play civil rights movement, a whole bunch of stuff played into that. So it's like, I congratulate y'all for coming from where you come from. I just wish that y'all would have saw that this wasn't it, though. It was supposed to be more to this on the plate.
They'll see it eventually once you get there.
They'll see it. You got
to get there.
Same, and that's I feel like the place that I'm in, I have to be the person that does it. And once they see it, they'll be like, oh.
Yeah. But it's like, this is possible for you too. It's not just reserved because I grew up that way.
Life don't end just because you hit a certain age, and that's the main thing. Even for the older people too. And like I said, this age that we at, young millennials, I'm coining that phrase, and then we're gonna end it there. This age for young millennials is adult puberty. And it goes into next week's episode, which is about the next phase of the plant, which is the more of the development and the germination stage. I got a great interview with a big influencer, motivational speaker. So y'all got to tap into that. I want to appreciate y'all for coming on today. I want to appreciate you for filling in last time.
Yes.
But, for
EJ fix your wig. I'm sorry.
There's nothing wrong with EJ's wig, guys.
EJ wig broke, y'all. That's why she couldn't make it.
And my girl got hair. Hold up. Don't play.
P.S.A signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And I love us for real.